Chapter 3 for supply chain management. In Chapter 3, we talk about the importance of information in the supply chain and the various ways that companies can collect that information. So, there are multiple reasons why information is important for the supply chain and different ways that we can use that information in our operations. One of the ways we can use information is to maintain asset visibility. So, to know where our products are, tracking shipments, to see if they're getting to their location on time, to know where they're located, to know what's happening to them, and for theft recovery. So if our items are marked in such a way that we can digitally scan them and find them in their location, we might be able to increase theft recovery. Managing our daily operations. How do we keep track of customers? How do we keep track of orders? How do we maintain our accounting systems and our human resource systems? And to make planning and strategic decisions. So, the main reason that we use information is to improve upon the way that we're doing things on a regular basis. So we find out what we're doing, what those metrics look like, and then we plan for ways to improve those metrics. So for asset visibility that I was talking about, we can use information to keep track of where our items are. If we own our own trucks, where those trucks are, we might have, some systems have GPS trackers, some have barcodes, some have RFID codes, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. And sometimes it's just keeping a computer log of the various things that the company owns and wants to keep track of. We can, for safety and security. Okay, so when we look at technology available to track our truck fleet, for an example, so if we have our own truck fleet and we have some way to track them via GPS, we can also use that as protection for our drivers because there are systems that will alert us if there's been an accident, if something has happened, that drivers can connect if you're lost. If you've ever used an OnStar system, this is the same kind of software that's available for companies to use with their drivers. To manage daily operations, what do we need? Are we currently low on stock? So, do we maintain our inventory information on a computer system that alerts us when we're low on stock? Or are we still using a manual system where an employee needs to go out and physically count and pay attention? We also have the different activities, such as marketing. Which ads are going out to our customers? What's our current marketing campaign? Are we sending emails? Are we posting them on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter? What are logistics, our manufacturing, and our finance, and how we manage all of those activities to work together so that we don't have any downtime or supply chain issues with stockouts. Okay? Then how we share external information, such as trying to help reduce risk. We to help, and this is externally, this is when we're communicating with our suppliers and we're communicating externally to other businesses. We're maybe instead of owning our own truck fleet, we outsource our truck fleet. But making sure that we know when what we need from our suppliers, how long it takes to get from our suppliers, and what our supplier relationship is. And there are various ways for companies to do this. And supply chain planning. And we're going to talk about specifically about planning in chapter 4 when we talk about demand forecasting and looking at how we decide how much inventory we need to have on hand and when based on what our sales forecast is for specific items. So trying to plan on how we're going to meet that demand. Other things that we have to plan are how are we going to deliver products and services? How are we going to receive products and services? So when our suppliers ship things to us, how are they sending them? Does that speed work for us? Who's paying for it? Same thing as when we're shipping out. Production. Do we manufacture our own things? Then we need to keep track of a variety of things. We need to keep track of suppliers of raw materials. We need to keep track of exactly what's happening on our production floor. And we need to keep track of what the inspection, quality, all of those things. Warehousing. Are we going to store inventory? Where are we going to store inventory? Where are we going to put warehouses? And when we have warehouses, how are we going to mitigate risk to make sure that they aren't taken out by a tornado or people aren't stealing from them? Inventory management. So all of the various ways that we manage what inventory we have in stock, what inventory is on the way to us, and what inventory is on the way to customers. And to plan collaboratively among all of those various components. So think about all of those moving parts all working together, where once we know what our sales forecast is, we can plan our production strategy. Then we plan our warehousing and transportation strategy. All the entire time we're managing inventory strategy and we're managing collaboratively with our suppliers, our own employees, and our customers. Our supply chain strategy has to work with overall strategy. There are three basic strategic choices in business: cost leadership, differentiation, and focus. So, with cost leadership, our entire goal is to be the lowest cost supplier. So, we we want customers to buy our products because they're the cheapest available. And maybe we can get brand loyalty that way, but our main goal is to be the cheapest product on the market for those product options. Differentiation, if we're operating under the differentiation strategy, we have unique products that and services that customers are willing to pay for. This is where we really talk about customer loyalty, brand loyalty. There's something about our product that just attracts customers to it and makes customers willing to pay a premium price for it. And then focus, which takes differentiation a little bit more into the thing where everything is concentrated on a very narrow segment of the market. We only have one product instead of an entire product line, for example. We are only looking to work in one very specific area of the product. So, for example, and if you're thinking about various medical products, so as a company, we can make hundreds of different kinds of medical products and supply stores and hospitals and things. Or we can focus in and only make one kind of. So maybe hearing aids are our focus. And the only thing we're going to make and sell are hearing aids. And we're not going to look at any other products on the market. So that's a focus product. Okay. Once our corporate strategy is determined and we know what we're looking for, then we can plan our supply chain management strategy. Obviously, if we're operating under cost leadership, we're not going to choose the most expensive transportation, warehousing, suppliers, and customer service levels. If differentiation is our main strategy, then we are looking at we can spend a little bit more money because customers are willing to spend more money on our products. We might not be as willing to outsource to other companies because we're doing strict quality control. So the main part of differentiation is a unique quality product or service that people are willing to pay extra money for. That usually means that we take a lot of care in choosing who our suppliers are, who we work with, which channels to use. Do customers have to find us so we only sell in person? Do we sell on the internet so we have a web presence and customers can order online? Do we have a phone app and customers can order through a phone app? So all of the different channels that we use to reach our customer. Okay. As technology improves, this becomes a more difficult thing to manage. So a lot of firms try to be all things to all people. In order to reach customers, meet them where they are, they try to do too many things, which then puts a lot of pressure on their supply chain. And as we're in a digital economy where we can choose from literally any company 24/7 a day and get products to us, then all supply chains have to be flexible and adaptive in order to make sure that they're keeping up with customer expectations and demands. So when we're looking at supply chain strategy, we look at network design. Okay, so the number and size of nodes in our supply chain. So where are we going to manufacture? Where are we going to have warehouses? Are we going to have a centralized, we have one distribution center and we distribute out from that location, so we have a headquarters and everything happens at that headquarters? Or we're going to have multiple locations that we geographically plan the location for in order to meet demand in different geographic areas. Okay, how much should we outsource? Should we even outsource? And this is what happens if we outsource. So if you outsource, you contract with another company for something. It could be anything. It could be a raw material. It could be a piece of inventory that you're using, parts or services. It could also be your shipping company who you use to send things out to customers. So what that relationship looks like, how you design your contract, who you're willing to outsource with. Of course, we're going to discuss this further in another chapter. Okay, channel selection. As I said, how do we get things to the market? Okay, right now, so there's a statistic that, and we talk about many customers can be in a physical store while getting additional information from their mobile devices. In fact, one of the studies they did found that people would go into a local store to see the product physically, and then while standing in the aisle at the store, they will use their cell phone to look up the item and see if they can find it cheaper somewhere else. They've already looked at the item or tried it on or seen, but then they can have it shipped to them for $10 off somewhere else, or they'll see if another store has it cheaper. So it's possible that a customer will physically come to your store and still not make their purchase there. In fact, it's extremely common, which is why having multiple channels and how customers can reach you is really important. So this is called an omnichannel, and we're going to obviously talk about that later in a different channel. But the omnichannel is all of the different channels in which customers can reach us at. If we have a mobile app, if we have a website, if they can buy through Facebook Marketplace, if they have to come to a physical location, and where are those physical locations at? So we'll continue this in the next video.